Yo, what is up, Marvel fans? It's your boy Armand here for E equals MCU with the episode 2 review of Moon Knight. So let's get into it. So let's get into the episode. We were able to get some explanation on Stephen and Mark's relationship, as far as how they shared the body, or basically how Mark shares Stephen's body, because it sounds like this is actually Stephen's actual body. We got explanation on that. He can give up control. Mark Spector is Moon Knight, and then Stephen. The funny thing about this episode was the whole summon the suit thing, and Stephen didn't even understand what that meant or what was said. At first, he thought that Layla was saying summon the soup, and then when he actually did summon the suit, we got Mr. Knight, which isn't like the Mr. Knight in the comics. It's more of a funny take on the character. I heard a lot of people kind of comparing him to Deadpool, but that's kind of how he acted, kind of what it was. I don't mind it as much. I thought the scene that he had when he was fighting the Jackal was funny, but we'll have to see where it goes. Other things that I liked about the episode, you had Harold explaining to Stephen that he was an avatar for Khonshu previously, and then we learned that Mark is the current avatar that he's using, and Khonshu was looking to get Layla, and Mark doesn't want to let him get Layla, and we're going to get into that. We're going to find out exactly how far or how deep that rabbit hole goes, and then upon getting that explanation, we also found out and kind of learned the rules that other people cannot see these monsters from this other dimension. And although you can't see the monsters can still hurt you, because when the Jackal was fighting Mr. Knight, and the people were there, he was hitting them and knocking them down and doing whatever he was doing to them. So it is very real what is happening. It's just a matter of who can see it or not. I think that what Marvel is doing with this series, that's a great play on everything that they got going with the god Khonshu, because if you get into the mysticism of things, and it seems like that's where Marvel's really going with Moon Knight and setting up, and also to know, I really like how Marvel has taken the liberty to adapt and change some things. So by putting Moon Knight in London, it looks like what we're getting is that London is going to be the mystic heroes home base, so to speak, because you got the Eternals and the Black Knight. They were based out of London, and they were in London. It's reported that Blade is going to take place in London, and now you got Moon Knight in London, and these are all properties that are probably going to cross over and team up, and I'm assuming we're probably going to get a version of the Midnight Suns based out of London. So just a tidbit, something I noticed that Marvel is kind of doing with these characters. But I like how they're using the Egyptian mythos and the mysticism of the gods and everything with Khonshu, and being that other people, it's something where it's like he came to Mark Spector and to Stephen, only they can see him or see what's kind of going on with that. That's on some old third eye opening kind of thing. And for those of you who are not familiar with the pineal gland and opening the third eye and all the different things that can mean, I think that's an interesting play on Marvel Studios, an interesting creative decision to kind of use that aspect to kind of set this whole Moon Knight dilemma in it, as far as with him having the multiple personalities and being able to see these things and the gods. They don't hint at it very strong. They're not like really following, really going down that rabbit hole, but they're kind of just like showing you the door of what they're trying to do and kind of using that to explain some things of how their heroes are going to work. So I think that was that's a good creative choice, and I'm interested to see how much further they kind of go with that. Like I was saying with the Egyptian, doing the whole Egyptian gods thing, and with Khonshu, and I was and this is like my own personal belief, but it's just like these deities from Egypt that were being worshipped, that are gods, are descendants or are basically what they would call the Anunnaki, and those were deities in an alien race that are giants. So that's the reason why he is so big. He would be a descendant of Enlil and Enki, or it would be Enlil or Enki. I'd have to really look it up and trace it, but there are descendant lines that you can trace back to it, and I believe the god. There's a little bit of confusion on that because Marvel calls him Khonshu. I believe the god was called Khonsu as one of those, and he was a descendant of one of those. But they all of them came from Enlil and Enki, and there's a whole story of how them leaving their planet and all of this other thing. But what that does explains the technology that they used and the different powers that they have, and that would kind of explain to people why him as a deity is kind of popping up, on Steven here and there and controlling the lights and all of that kind of stuff. It goes into the supernatural. So that's just kind of the thing on that. The only other thing I was going to add is just I did watch the Widow's channel, and she was giving her review. Shout out to Ashley and her channel. It's called The Widow. If anybody wants to check it out, she did her review, and one thing she brought up that I agree with, and I kind of noticed when she said it, and I went back and rewatched. She was talking about the actress that plays Layla and how it just didn't hit for her. And upon watching it the first time, I didn't really pay it much attention, but going back and watching it again, I think Ashley is right. It's something about her performance that's coming off flat. Just from an actor standpoint, I look at it as maybe she didn't make strong enough choices, or she didn't, understand the assignment necessarily. I mean, when you got Oscar Isaac doing what he's doing, if you're not matching his level of intensity and energy, I guess maybe it would come off flat no matter what choices you make. So I don't know what was going on there. I do know there was a big deal being made because she is an actual, I believe she's Egyptian. So having an authentic Egyptian actress in the role, and that's big just in itself. But I do kind of wonder from the director's standpoint, how the relationship was, or if they told her to do that, or whatever the case. So, but anyway, I mean, it's just something I noticed. Hopefully, it gets better from that standpoint. But the actual episode overall, I mean, I thought it was decent. I'd probably give it like a 7. I give the first episode, I'd probably get an 8.5. This one I'll give a 7.5. I see the whole Indiana Jones aspect where they're going with it, and we'll kind of see where that goes. But overall, it's building to something, and man, I'm just sitting back and just enjoying the ride for what it is. Really, I still think that this has the opportunity to be the best Marvel Studios Disney Plus show yet. I guess it depends on how they stick the landing. We kind of know there's spoilers out there with the first 4 episodes, so it depends on how these last 2 episodes kind of come in. So I'm just gonna sit back and enjoy the ride, and hopefully get some more explanation on Arthur Harrow and Khonshu, because they're really kind of setting him up to kind of be the villain of this, which kind of could work in the way that they're doing it. It's just like he's kind of a villain in it. So anyways, that's what I got on this episode, guys. Sorry for the delay and the late video, but let me know what you guys think down in the comment section about some of these things that you notice, anything that you noticed, anything that you missed up on. Anybody out there who's really into esoteric stuff, and ancient Egyptian, ancient aliens, and any of that stuff, you can kind of chime in on Khonshu if you have anything to add to it. Let me know down in the comment section. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And until next week, I'm out.